Good evening, everybody. Let's talk a little bit about the weather. We've got quite a few storms headed into the metro area, and that is a good sign. It's a really good sign, actually. So we'll let people join the chat, and then we will get to talking about what to expect. I'm going to make sure my audio's good. Yep, audio's good. And I'm going to be watching the chat here on my page. All right, that's a live look at our Perryville weather cam. There is tons and tons of lightning, high winds, and I'll move these cameras around a little bit so you can see exactly what I'm looking at. But this is what's happening right now in Perryville, and we're actually looking towards Petit Jean Mountain, which you could have seen just a few moments ago. Now, you are not going to be able to see that. But heavy rains occurring there. We're dealing with storms that are producing lots of lightning, also have the potential to produce some high winds. So looking at the numbers here, it looks like we've got about several hundred of you in here. And so we'll get to kind of looking at what's going on and different radar images and everything. It's just me tonight, Sunday night. You see all the weather cams behind me. We're seeing tons of lightning, even from Little Rock on the downtown weather cams. I hope you're having a great Sunday evening. Little Rock has badly needed some rain, has missed out. So hopefully this is going to be for everybody in Pulaski County. We can all get some of the rain that we very, very badly need. Other spots have gotten to get at least a little bit over the last week or so here and there, especially West Arkansas, done really well. We do have some active severe thunderstorm warnings as well, and these storms are loud. You're going to hear them. Now, the type of severe weather, if you see it, that we're expecting, high winds is the main threat. Doesn't look like there's much hail in these, but just some high winds. We could see a few trees down. I don't expect that to be widespread. These are just pretty typical, strong summer thunderstorms that we're going to get a look at. So here is the view from, this is Perryville. And I'm just going to kind of switch around to our different cameras. This is the downtown cameras, and this is on the First Security Building in downtown. And if I actually turn this back towards the west, there's actually storms developing just south of downtown that we'll look at on radar here in a moment, and they're producing quite a bit of lightning as well. Continuing along the camera network here, this is going to be looking at Chenal Mountain, and this is looking off towards the northwest, and you can see all the lightning coming from the storms that are about to be moving into the metro area. Hot Springs, that camera is down. Obviously, it's not sunny there, and this is the Mount Magazine camera. You see all the lightning off towards the southeast, and as this storm complex has already moved through that area. So a lot going on. And let's go back to the Chenal camera. This is looking, the Pinnacle Mountain is just on the right-hand side of your screen. We have lots and lots of lightning just to the northwest and heavy rain on its way into the metro area with that. So on to the radar we go. This complex of storms started up in northwest Arkansas, and it is now rolling towards the southeast, and it is producing very heavy rain, but it is moving quickly. But some of that very heavy rain is now getting through Conway, and look at what's happening in advance of that. There's showers and storms popping up all over Pulaski County. So the Little Rock Airport's gotten about 0.05 of an inch of rain within the last, 3 weeks, and we haven't had over an inch of rain combined in the last 4 weeks. So this is missing the airport now, but I'm hopeful that we're going to all get some rain, some very heavy rain here shortly. Other than that, in the state, you look down into southeast Arkansas, and the storm complex that moved through earlier is now getting into Louisiana, and there's a few slow-moving storms that have been moving through Camden and part of Clark County over the last several hours. The loudest and most significant storms moving through the metro area right now, and these are, I wish they were slower moving because I think we could use a little bit more rain than what these are going to bring, but this is going to be some very beneficial rainfall for places like Faulkner County and down into the Little Rock area. The high wind threat does exist with these storms, though these storms do look a little bit more disorganized than they were just a little bit ago, and so that's comforting to know that I don't think the wind threat is just super, super high. But we'll look at the velocity data here in a moment. The line does extend towards the west, back into Yell County, and so the Hot Springs area is going to be getting some of these as well. It's been, I'm sure, a very nice lake weekend out there on Lake Ouachita and Lake Hamilton, but it is time to get off the lake with a lot of those storms producing some wind there. The high wind threat, look at this. As you can see kind of the brighter greens there just to the south of Russellville. Well, they've kind of fallen apart as this has moved off towards the south. So that's a good sign that maybe the winds aren't as strong as they were just a few moments ago. You can actually see the leading edge of the winds there. This is the leading edge of the strong wind gusts pushing into the Little Rock area. And I bet we'll see some 20, 30, and 40 mile per hour wind gusts and maybe a push of stronger winds back embedded within the storm. This current configuration of severe thunderstorm warnings does not include downtown Little Rock. It does include West Little Rock, also includes all of Garland County and almost all of Saline County. So that configuration of storms on the west side of this line that's surging south, there is a threat for strong winds kind of on that side of the line, more so than the side of the line that's coming through Conway. But a severe thunderstorm warning also is in effect for Conway. I am monitoring the chat here on the KATV Facebook page and on my Facebook page. So if you happen to be watching, comment kind of what you're seeing if you're in those areas, and please remember if you happen to get any damage, you guys, our viewers, whether it's on air or online, are our eyes and ears. You can always send us stuff to our Facebook page or to katv.com/chime in, and we really appreciate it. We've had a few pictures of hail come in earlier today, as well as some damaging wind gusts from Hickory Plains was one of the spots. So let's go back to the cameras that are out there. This is from downtown, and this is from Chenal Mountain. This is looking towards the northwest. And again, these storms, more than anything, are going to produce tons of lightning. That is going to be the main threat with these as they move into the metro area. I'm going to move this camera around, and we're going to kind of see if we can see any of the different features in the clouds. We're going to push it towards the west. These are the Chenal Mountain towers that you're looking at. And with the area of rain kind of getting closer and closer to Chenal Mountain, we'll eventually just kind of see everything disappear. It'll be kind of hard to make anything out. But right now, you just look at all the flashes of light there, and I'm sure there's going to be tons of thunder as well with this. So, and do me a favor, if you have not liked my Facebook page, please do so. I try to bring important weather updates to you as often as I can. And certainly whenever there's severe weather or big weather events, I am all over it. So like and subscribe to my page. That way you can stay up to date on the forecast or any type of big weather event that's headed into the state. This chance for rain, again, doesn't affect everybody, but I think it is about to affect some spots that desperately need the rain. Just hopefully we can avoid any damaging winds at your particular location, wherever you might be watching from. Some different cameras that I'll kind of stroll through here, showing you, let's see, let's go to this camera. Let's look at some different locations here. So this is downtown, and this is looking towards the west from downtown. Obviously, we're going to be seeing a lot of lightning from that camera as well, as I'm going to pull this camera a little bit more towards the northwest. And the sky is, of course, getting very dark, looking off towards the northwest, and we're starting to see lots of lightning. Back to radar, just kind of give you an idea on the storms and kind of where they're headed. These things are moving rapidly southeast. These things have really, this is over the last 45 minutes, have come through the Russellville area and now are long gone from the Russellville area. So really, over the next 45 minutes, these are going to go almost all the way across Pulaski County. We do have a couple of severe thunderstorm warnings in effect. There's one giant severe thunderstorm warning in effect for, that's Garland County down to Hot Spring County, Saline County, and that's in effect until 9 o'clock, and it's for this west edge of the line that's rolling south very quickly. The eastern edge of the line, a little bit more disorganized, but there is a severe thunderstorm warning in effect in Conway. I think we could see some higher wind gusts with this, and as I put a track on the line, it's moving really southeast at about 40 miles per hour, so it's going to be coming up on Pine Bluff here pretty soon. You're getting into downtown Little Rock here, I think in about 15 minutes, and then down to Arkadelphia sometime around 9:30, Sheridan by 9:20. So this is going to go pretty quickly, but this is Little Rock's best chance for rain in a long, long time. Of course, we hit 106 degrees today for our high temperature. It was very, very hot, very humid, and some of these storms are taking advantage of the heat and humidity that we have in place today. So I think this is a good thing as long as we can stay away from the high winds, and just kind of looking at some of the some of the radar data for high winds. There is still some high wind embedded within this, but I think it's going to be sporadic. Now, we do have some power outages in the state. Last check, it was over 20,000. I'm going to see if I can update that number for you at poweroutage.us is the website that kind of takes all the areas around the state and combines them, gives you a number. We're at 33,000 for power outages right now in the state. A lot of those to the northwest with this line of storms that came down into Logan, Yell, Pope, and Johnson County. So we're continually watching this area to see if there's any threat for very high winds. I do think there's going to be strong wind gusts within this, and we'll probably see a few trees down. But I don't think it's a widespread damaging wind threat. Like, I don't think it's something more significant. I think it's kind of an isolated, scattered threat for damaging winds. The bigger deal, I think, is all the lightning that we're getting, and then hopefully all that heavy rain. Look in advance of the line down towards Scott, Wrightsville, and then over towards just to the northwest of Keogh, down towards Humnoak. There's a lot of showers and thunderstorms popping up in that region of central Arkansas. So all good things, just with the exception being the threat for high winds here. Do there happen to be any questions? I'm just watching the chat to see, will Stuttgart get any? So Stuttgart's pretty far removed from this line right now, but you know, if we draw a line here from the easternmost edge, Stuttgart's going to be right on that line of kind of being included in this thunderstorm complex. So tons of trees down near Beaver Fork Lake in Conway. So looks like as this storm came into Conway, there unfortunately were lots of trees down. Thank you, Laura Brown, for that update. So there's wind damage in Conway, and looks like the power outage number and coming out of Conway, I'll continue to keep an eye on that. Right now, at least, it's at 370 for a number of people out of power in Faulkner County. So Glenn says, getting hammered in Perryville. Yes, and we actually have a camera in Perryville, and we were looking at that not too long ago. We can go back to it here. This is, well, I got to find it first. That's looking from Little Rock. That's looking from West Little Rock. And that's looking from Hot Springs. And there's Perryville. So Perryville, in the camera, you can't see very far in the distance like we usually can. And that's due to all the high winds and heavy rain that we're dealing with. So, yeah, and you kind of start to see in the distance a little bit. Maybe it's letting up a little bit in Perryville. So that's, I'm hopeful anyway that this is going to be quick moving and we won't be dealing with too much wind. Hey, look at this picture earlier. This is Crew, Lewis, and Ward. He picked up a golf ball size hailstone, and that is just one of the many reports of hail that we received around the state today. And then we also saw hail earlier in Greenbrier. So Faulkner County's had hail today. Now they've had some wind damage up in that part of the state, and now we're watching these storms as they're producing high winds. Taylor Kaufman asks, any chance of tornadoes this evening? No, these are not the kind of storms that will produce tornadoes. This is just going to be high winds and heavy rain, and that's if we get anything severe. It's high winds. So good question. Brenda says loud thunder and rain in Conway. That's a good thing. Glenn says good crazy wind there in Perryville. This whole area of storms, you know, it's moving so quickly. I think it's really going to limit the threat for flash flooding. I think we had a question about flash flooding as well, and this is moving through, you know, at a good pace, 45 miles per hour. So it'll be a good heavy rain, but then it'll be done, I think, and we won't really have to worry about a flash flood threat. There has been some slow-moving storms down into part of Clark County, but other than that, these are moving quickly. In fact, the back edge is going to be approaching Conway and Perryville pretty quickly, and the front edge is going to be getting into West Little Rock. It's already through Mayflower, so Maumelle, West Little Rock. In fact, the leading edge is now coming up on Chenal Mountain, so let's go look at the Chenal Mountain weather cam here, and we'll kind of look at what that looks like for the leading edge of these storms. There's, again, downtown. There's Chenal Mountain. And, yeah, we're looking at tons of lightning. You can actually see the low cloud base there just behind the tower. And as I kind of pivot this towards the north, you'll actually be able to see the low cloud base as it advances towards the east. That line you see right there in the middle of the camera, that's one of the guy wires coming off the top of the tower. And, yeah, in all the lightning strikes there, you can see kind of all the heavy rain where it looks kind of fuzzy back in there. That's all heavy rain coming up on Pinnacle and Chenal Mountains. And what, if I can point out to you, Pinnacle Mountain there is just behind this big group of lights, and you can't really see Pinnacle Mountain anymore. So the rain really getting set to begin here out in West Little Rock. And I'm going to see if I can bring this into a little bit better focus for you. Sometimes these cameras get pretty blurry. And here before too long, we won't be able to see hardly anything. Jennifer says the wind going nuts in Hot Springs Village. Yeah, and so this is going to be that leading edge of the rain or the wind is kind of well out in advance of the storms. So what you're actually seeing that just came through Hot Springs Village, you can kind of see it on radar there, that green line. That is the wind. That is called a gust front, and so that's kind of the big rush of wind in advance of the rain. I got to tell you, I know these storms have dropped some trees along the way from Ozark through Johnson County, Russellville, and into Conway, but they do look a little bit more disorganized than they did just an hour ago. So I'm hopeful that the wind threat may start to die down here. And wow, there's one of our cameras is showing absolutely crazy lightning, and that's going to be our Mountain Magazine camera. I want to show you this one because there's just an absolute light show going on from our Mountain Magazine camera. It's pretty cool. It's, of course, way in the distance, but check this out. The Mountain Magazine camera just showing just nonstop lightning as we look off towards the southwest. And, of course, if you're in the distance, it's beautiful to look at. Of course, if you're in the storm, that's going to be very, 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 very loud. But that Mountain Magazine now is on the backside of those storms, Logan County. But tons and tons of lightning there as we're looking off towards the southeast. This is looking back towards the southwest from Mountain Magazine on the Middleton Heat and Air Weather Cam. So continue to comment where you're watching from and what you're seeing at your location. Brian Gray says there's a trampoline on Linder Road in Greenbrier. So those high winds, of course, trampolines usually the first things to get picked up in high winds. Randy Kirby says raining in Roland. The rain has reached West Little Rock. And I'm watching the rest of the chat for you. Mickey says, think the winds will still be as strong once it gets to Pine Bluff. I can see the lightning from here. And yeah, I think there's still a chance for some high winds, but it does appear the storms are not super, super organized. So that's certainly a good sign. But, you know, these are storms you don't want to be outside in. It's a Sunday night. You know, you want to be indoors. So here's the latest severe thunderstorm warning from the National Weather Service. So they do still think there's a threat for high winds with these storms. Now, this includes all of Pulaski County down towards the Pine Bluff area. So the high wind threat probably does continue all the way down into Grant and Jefferson counties. But you see the eastern side of this line here that I'm talking about here, Conway and up into northern Pulaski County, it packs a punch, but it's just a little bit more disorganized than the side of the line that's out towards Hot Springs and north of Benton. That side of the line is going to be moving towards the south pretty quickly, and I think that side of the line has a better chance to produce some high winds. A lot of you watching from around the state. Jonathan says it was bad in Solid Springs 2 hours ago. Yeah, these storms were up in northwest Arkansas 2 hours ago. Carolyn says, will Searcy get any rain? Well, unfortunately, this line was staying to the west and staying towards the south, so Searcy right there gets completely left out with this round. John says, what about Carlisle? Kind of the same thing with Carlisle. Carlisle's on the far eastern edge of this, and it's moving southeast, so Carlisle may be left out of this as well. So it's really if you're in it, you're in it, and you're getting heavy rain, and if you miss it, I know it's very disappointing to miss out on a good rain like this. Cindy says storming in Ferndale now, and radar data can measure high winds, and we do have some winds moving into western Pulaski County, some higher winds, and northern Pulaski County as well. Looks like there was just a big gust of wind on a Highway 107 there up in the northern part of the county. And what that is, when you see, I know in tornado season we talk a lot about winds moving away from the radar and winds moving towards the radar. Well, in summer severe weather season, you have winds moving away and winds moving towards. So these are not converging winds. These are diverging winds right here just in northern Pulaski County just about 10 minutes ago. So you got winds moving away and you got winds moving towards, and right here in the middle, up in northern Pulaski County, right in this spot, you have what's called a downburst. So that would be where we probably have some tree damage, and I'll be looking for spots. And so we've got another one just near Cato. You've got winds moving towards the radar there, and you've got winds moving away from the radar there, and so there's another likely downburst in that location, and that's going to be on Arkansas Highway 89. So there's probably some wind damage in that spot as well, and we're talking like a 60-mile-per-hour wind damage threat there, and you'll probably see a few trees down in those couple of locations, and you see a couple of these signatures out towards Saline County, Perrin, and over towards the Hot Springs area. So let's see if the power outage numbers have gone up as these storms have moved into the metro area. Not a huge increase, though we do have 1,400 now without power in Faulkner County and over 2,100 without power in Conway County. So there were some power outages likely towards Conway and Greenbrier as that storm came through those areas. So that's just a little bit about how we try to find what's called a downburst on radar. I know that's pretty technical. You just want to know if there's high winds, and there are pockets of high winds. It's not a large area of high winds. There's just sporadic pockets of it. So this line of storms continues to kind of race through the metro area, now getting into West Little Rock and downtown. We go back to the Chenal weather cam, and well, you're not going to be able to see much here as we look from Chenal. Actually, that's looking from Mount Magazine, still looking at tons of lightning. Beautiful sight there, really, from that distance. This is from Perryville, and we really should label these. And this is from West Little Rock. That's the Chenal Mount weather cam. See, it's raining very heavily out there at this point. So I hope you're all having a great Sunday night. This is not a major severe weather threat, but we do have severe thunderstorm warnings in effect that cover a large part of the metro area. We've got Hot Springs, Benton, and of course all of Saline County, all of Pulaski County, down to England and Keogh. And this actually goes all the way down into Jefferson County, and that severe thunderstorm warning is in effect until 9:30. So quick-moving storms, they're going to be producing sporadic areas of wind damage. They'll be moving quickly. Behind that, there is a little bit of light rain, but I think this is going to be the main show for rain, at least at this point. We can actually look at Futurecast, and I'll kind of show you what to expect as we go through the rest of the night. It's not perfect, and you can see that. The storms are kind of more in this region and not back towards the west, but they're not perfect. So you get rid of those storms. I think late tonight we may see the redevelopment. This is very late tonight, kind of in this corridor, northwest down into west central and western Arkansas. I don't know how much of that gets into Little Rock, but as you can kind of see here, late tonight there is going to be the chance that some of this lingers past sunrise. So some more thunderstorms are possible late tonight. Really in this corridor from, it looks like it's going to be Fort Smith to Arkadelphia, back towards Hot Springs, and then up towards Fayetteville. So that's going to be, I think, the region that we have to watch the most. And that's going to be probably for a few hours of watching some storms there. And then that rain, it's going to fizzle out tomorrow morning, though I do think we could see some rain in the morning. So that's the later round. And the round we're keeping an eye on right now is almost all the way through Faulkner County. In fact, the back edge is approaching Conway now. The back edge is getting through Perryville, and now we're going to have to watch downtown. I think let's take a look now at the downtown sky cams because it's getting in here now. So let's look at downtown, and we'll turn this camera off towards the northwest, and I think the rain looks like it's already started here in downtown. I'll look off towards the northwest, and yeah, you can kind of see the rain curtain there and the light on the North Little Rock side of the river, and pretty soon it'll be raining even heavier in downtown. Remember, places like downtown Little Rock, downtown North Little Rock, Little Rock Airport, we have gone, I would say, about really 4 weeks without meaningful rainfall. So we've got a good chance tonight to hopefully get at least a half an inch before these storms move out of our area, because they are moving pretty quickly. So the best case scenario is you don't get any wind and you get a lot of rain. And so that's the camera that sits on top of the first security building. There's the camera that sits on top of the Regions building, kind of giving you a better chance of, or a better view there of the heavy rain that's moving into our area. Lots of lightning, people. There's going to be lots of lightning with this as it's moving into Little Rock, unfortunately. because you get too much lightning, you start to worry about losing power because of that. There's, again, I think the most beautiful camera shot we have in the state right now, and this is probably what I'm going to show on air at 10 o'clock. Lots of lightning from the Mountain Magazine weather cam. It's just non-stop. So it is a big light show. In fact, if you're in a different area of the state, you could probably step outside and see the light show that is being put on from Central Arkansas. Just a beautiful display of lightning there. Of course, if you're in the storm here in the Little Rock area, you are hearing every last lightning strike that we are getting. So, hey, if you're watching, I really appreciate it. This is just a quick weather update on kind of what we're dealing with. With the storms that are moving in. Really, the biggest deal is that we're going to finally get some meaningful rain here in downtown. We are not expecting widespread severe weather tonight, but there is the chance that these storms do produce scattered damaging wind gusts. So we're probably going to look back and notice that there's going to be several trees down in the morning, and it could knock out power to a few of you. Not expecting widespread damaging winds, so that's good. Getting a few of you asking about the volume, so I'll just ask you guys, can you guys hear okay? I'm going to check my... Getting a few of you asking... Yeah, I've got my volume okay, so hopefully you guys can still hear me. I'm running all this off my laptop here, and when I'm kind of plugged into the weather center, just keeping an eye on the weather as it's moving through most of Pulaski County, and now that rain getting through Hot Springs Village, Chenal Mountain, Little Rock, Jacksonville, and the heavy rains now beginning down into southeast Pulaski County as well. Now, this is just such a welcome sight because earlier today, storms developed north of Little Rock, storms developed south of Little Rock, and most of Pulaski County just missed out. And so this is really a good sign. So still got about 500 of you watching, and thank you if you're commenting that you can hear me. I'm wearing a microphone, so I guess if I turn away from that mic, the sound drops off pretty quickly here when I turn to my left to move a camera or something like that. But Sunday night, y'all, this week is going to be so nice. We're going to have temperatures that are going to be in the 80s. We're going to have lower humidity. Betty Wilson asked, will this make it into South Arkansas? And yes, I do think so. It's moving pretty quickly, so within the next 2 hours, it'll cross almost all of southern Arkansas. So, downstream, Pine Bluff, Sheridan, down into Rison, Fordyce, Sparkman, and all the way down to Camden to Warren. I think you guys can be expecting some rain from this as it moves down into the south part of the state. So it is good to get some rain in August. Typically we're moving into our driest time of the year, and so it's not unheard of when we go long periods of time without rainfall, but we sure don't want to go very long time, and part of the state has, especially in central and south Arkansas. We've been a little bit since we've gotten rain. Little Rock, in fact, I think you can go back to Tropical Storm Beryl, and that's really the last time Little Rock had a big time rainfall event back in early July. So there's a little bit of rain since then, but it's been 4 weeks of a lot of dry weather, and it looks dry going forward. So this may be the last chance at rain for a little bit. It looks dry for the next 7 days. And hopefully, we get some rain as we go into September. That's always nice because that is also a very dry time of year. Heavy rain now approaching I-30 in Hot Spring County, Saline County, and now into to North Little Rock. And this is some very heavy rain moving into the downtown area now. So we'll look real quick to see if there's any damaging winds, or it looks like there's pockets of damaging winds. And it does look like there's some pretty strong winds in here. Sporadic wind damage can be expected, but again, it's not going to be widespread wind damage. Just a few spots can expect that wind damage. These storms are not as strong as they were earlier. And as I look at a couple of the airports, it doesn't look like, I can't get a reading from Conway, but I think it's been a while since we've seen a severe wind gust. In fact, I'm going to try to look at the reading from Hot Springs. So I've got two feeds. I've got some people saying, I can hear you loud and clear. I've got other people saying your sound is not very good. So I've got it on my phone, and I can hear me very well. So I wonder if you guys tried turning, if you could turn me up on your phone, see if that just makes it a little bit better. Because I've got let me see if I move my mic closer to my face there. Maybe that'll make it a little bit better. So we just got a new severe thunderstorm warning that came out. So sporadic wind damage going to be possible all the way down into Arkadelphia, Dallas County, Grant County. That's the new warning. And if you have the KATV weather app, you would have just gotten that alert on your phone. It's in effect until 9:45. Runs through Hot Springs and Benton, all the way down into South Arkansas. So that's the newest warning. But again, scattered wind damage. This is not for widespread wind damage. These are sporadic wind damage reports that we're watching for. So, if you happen to see any damage, if you happen to see, let's say tomorrow morning on your way to work or at your place of employment, you see trees down or anything like that, please send your photos. We love to see what you see. Our viewers online and on air or on Facebook or the ones that watch us on TV, you guys are our eyes and ears. So, we can say one thing's happening, but you guys verify it for us. You tell us what's happening where you're at, and so we love to know what exactly you're seeing. And we love to see your pictures, whether you send it to us via Facebook Messenger or katv.com/chime in. That's a very easy way for you to submit your pictures to us, your weather pictures. We've gotten pictures of lightning today. We've gotten pictures of hail. I've gotten a few pictures of high wind damage. We submit that stuff to the National Weather Service, and that kind of goes into their archive. So you guys are very, very helpful to us when you send us pictures and video. And, of course, with storms like this, like earlier today, we got pictures of hailstones, quarter size, some golf ball size too. Karen says no power in Austin. High winds broke power pole, I think. So that is no good. The state power outage numbers haven't really moved as the storms are moving into the metro area. We're still sitting at 35,000, and you can kind of see that behind me. The greatest area of power outages is really the northwest of Little Rock, where the storms were a little bit stronger. And then those storms that went through southeast Arkansas earlier did kind of do some wind damage in the southeast part of the state. So Deshay County's got 2,000 without power. Drew County close to 1,000. Lincoln County close to 1,000. It's up towards the northwest. Yell County has almost 6,000 without power, and Pope County is over 3,700, and Faulkner County is over 1,500. So there are some power outages out there. Hopefully we can avoid that as this stuff comes into the metro area. Nobody wants power outages, not especially in the summer. So Emma said, why is it that it rains in Concrete City and we here at Dirt don't usually get any rain? So I assume you live further out. So, it's really luck of the draw this time of year. Some spots just feel like they are getting so much rain, and Fort Smith has been one of those spots. 6 inches of rain in the last couple weeks, while Little Rock has just been bone dry. And so now hopefully we're seeing the trends reverse a little bit. So still got some rain that's developing back to the northwest of let me see if I can move my radar image there. Back towards the northwest of this complex, more rain is developing back towards Russellville, Clarksville. It's very light, but hey, it's something. It'll keep that temperature down tonight and really set us up for a nice Monday. But the heaviest rain now is getting into downtown. I can hear it. There's lots of lightning, lots of thunder. And Carrie says the wind is picking up in Diamond Head there, south of Lake Catherine. And I still get people who are saying, James, I can barely hear you. So I got half of you saying you can't hear me, and I got half of you saying you can. And let's see here. So I got half of you saying you can't hear me, and I got half of you saying that's the volume up on my end. I can hear me. So I think, guys, if y'all just try turning your volume up just a little bit on your iPhone or your Android or your computer, whichever device you're listening on, which I really appreciate you guys watching and listening. Still got about 500 of you in here. So the heaviest rain getting into Benton, Bryant, Hot Springs, off towards the west, and Little Rock now is just soaked in the heavy rain, and that's going to include the Little Rock Airport. So I've got the airport observations pulled up here from Adams Field, and we're gonna be I'm gonna be watching to see if some very strong winds are measured, and the strongest wind gust within the last 15 minutes has been 14 miles per hour. So perhaps the winds are not very strong here at Little Rock. The temperature has dropped to 82 degrees, and of course that's down from the high temperature of 106. I'll continue to update you on the reading at Adams Field, which is the Little Rock National Airport. So looking at live radar here, it's everybody in Little Rock now seeing rain, including North Little Rock. Jennifer said just lost power in Bryant. So, and winds aren't the only thing that cause power outages. In a situation where you have tons of lightning, that can cause power outages as well, if lightning strikes a transformer or power substation or something like that. Power outage numbers still doesn't look like too many people are out in the metro area, though. Looks like it's been about 10 minutes since that's updated, so I'm waiting on that update. I bet those numbers are going up with this stuff coming through Little Rock. So, hey, the good news is these storms, no chance to produce tornado. They're just strong summer thunderstorms that are producing heavy rain, lots of lightning, lots of thunder, and that's what the majority of you are seeing right now with this line that is racing towards the south. It is moving rather quickly. And in the grand scheme, you could see the line there stretching from south of Mena towards Hot Springs, towards Little Rock, and it's covered half the state here in just the last couple of hours. So it's going to be moving southeast. I think Monticello and maybe parts of South Arkansas, you'll be getting a second round of rain and thunderstorms if this holds together. Off towards the east and northeast, looks like this is going to bypass most of you. I know Des Arc and Hazen, so many of you need some rain, and this round just looks like it is going to bypass you once again. So nothing I can do about it. I'm just here to report what is happening and what I think will happen. This is the view from Chenal, and things are looking a little bit calmer there. This is the view from Mount Magazine, still looking at so much lightning there. And now we'll take a look at what's happening in downtown. And yeah, there you see it. It is raining very, very heavily here in the downtown Little Rock area and surrounding areas. That's the view from the Regions Cam. You can't even see anything now off the Regions Cam. And there's another view of the Shaw Cam. But we'll just keep it on this camera for just a moment. You can barely even see over towards the North Little Rock side. So I don't notice the camera shaking too much. So that's good. Yeah, Little Rock Airport, their highest wind gust they reported was 14 miles per hour. So I think the wind threat maybe just not very, very strong with it as it came through Little Rock unless it's embedded within this thunderstorm. So keep looking at the observation there coming out of the airport. And it looks like here in just the last couple of minutes, Little Rock has started to record rainfall, and we're going to surpass our rainfall total for the last 3 weeks here. We're going to pass that in about 3 minutes. The next 3 minutes will be more than we've gotten in the last 3 weeks. So it's great, great news. Looking at the power outage numbers, still waiting on an updated number to come in, and it's up at 38,000. That's as of 9 o'clock. Pulaski County down to 200 people without power. Those numbers are a lot higher off towards the north and west. Yell County has the highest number of outages with over 6,000 without power. So that's out towards Danville and that part of the state. The temperature's dropped to 81 degrees here at Little Rock. Got a cold front moving through the state tonight. It's going to be a nice week. Cooler, less humid. It's going to be pretty fantastic as we go through really the next 4 to 5 days. It's going to be very, very nice. Temperatures are going to be in the 80s. It's going to be nice to be outside. Will the storm last through the night through downtown Little Rock? It is actually not going to last all night. This is going to be in and out pretty quickly. I'm starting to lose my voice a little bit. I'm going to grab a drink of water real quick. Always have water close by in this business. That is the truth. 38,000 without power due to these storms. They're continuing to move towards the south. We've been watching the camera in downtown Little Rock. Cary is located near Blakely Dam, saying they have some hail. So I bet they're Probably is some small hail. I wonder how big that hail is. If Carrie, if you know how big that is, let us know. I'd love to know. The radar doesn't show much hail, but we're so close to the radar that sometimes it's hard for it to look up to see hail. So I bet some small hail is embedded within this large area of rain there, southwest of downtown Little Rock. You see down towards Benton, the heavy rain has started, down towards Haskell, Lonsdale. Rain is real heavy there towards the west of Lake Hamilton, and pretty soon on Lake DeGray. It's pretty heavy rain that's going to be down there as well. So it's about to go as fast as it came. Look at this. The back edge of the heaviest rainfall is quickly approaching Little Rock, and it's getting through Maumelle right now. So this is not a line of storms that sticks around very long. You look at this line of storms, it continues to move off towards the southeast, about 40 to 45 miles per hour. There's just a look at where it's headed. Arkadelphia, it won't be much longer. This really is knocking on the door, and it's going to be quicker than the time that you see there because that line's actually a little bit further along. So you got about 5 minutes, and this line will be on you. Pine Bluff, you've got rain in advance of the main line, so it'll start raining certainly before 9:28. But this line should be approaching Camden by the time we get to 10 o'clock when we have Channel 7 News at 10. Heather said pea-size hail by the Lake Hamilton School District there on the west side. So some small hail, certainly. Heather James, is this coming to Camden? It sure is. It's going to make it all the way down to Camden, even though y'all been dealing with some rain. Betty says, what are the wind speeds? So these severe thunderstorm warnings are in effect for sporadic wind damage up to 60 miles per hour. However, I will tell you, this line that just came through Little Rock, the Little Rock Airport didn't record a wind gust over 14 miles per hour. So it's pockets of wind damage. You're going to have pockets of higher wind than that. Thankfully, though, Little Rock and areas around the airport didn't see wind any higher than that. And looking at Pulaski County power outages, I don't see an increase from the Entergy website or powerautages.us. So I'm hoping that the wind threat's kind of dropping, and this is really just wind and just a good old summer thunderstorm that we're dealing with. A good old summer thunderstorm is exactly what we needed to wind down the hottest 3-day stretch of the year. We hit 103 yesterday. Looks like the official high temperature today is going to be 105. It's revised down from 106, which can happen if you have the high temperature as 105.5 or 105.6. They round when the thermometer there is, between temperatures. So we're coming up on 9:15 here in just a few moments, and I'm going to cut the stream at that point. I'm going to get ready to do Channel 7 News at 10, and we'll have a recap of these storms as they've moved across the state. Thomas says Energy Text power back at 1:30, and that's in Hot Springs. I feel for you. It's a good thing the rain cools the temperature down. Nobody likes to lose power this time of year. I appreciate all of you watching. If you would, like my page, Meteorologist James Bryant, no matter where you're watching from, on Twitter, Facebook, or YouTube. Anytime we have big weather events, I'm watching it close. We have plenty of big weather events here in Arkansas. I prefer it to be quiet, but we're certainly going to have to deal with plenty of bad weather events to come. So hopefully tonight we can avoid the worst of it. We've got several areas without power, but they're mainly north and west of Little Rock. It's very heavy rain now off towards the west and southwest of Hot Springs, and it looks like if there's going to be any hail, the west side of the storm that's towards Bismarck there in western Hot Springs County, I think that is going to be where you're going to find some quarter-size hail. In any case, I don't think it'll last long. These storms are moving quick, approaching Traskwood, and now the back edge is getting towards the downtown area here pretty quickly. So it looks like the Little Rock Airport, you just wish it could last longer. We're getting close to 1/10 of an inch, so that's more than we've received in the last 4 weeks. but it certainly doesn't feel like it's enough. So it's about 20 minutes of really good rain here at the Little Rock Airport, in the Little Rock area. So 20 minutes, no matter where you're at. Casey Calhoun says strong winds in East End. Yep, that leading edge of the storms just now coming into East End. So that's your big gust of wind there. Hopefully you guys don't lose power. Jasmine Perkins just lost power. So still just constantly updating the power outage number. It's sitting at 38,000 at the moment. Yeah, Manuel says the grass is going to love this. Yes, my grass is starting to turn brown, so maybe time to mow after something like this. So, bottom line, everybody, as I wind this down to get ready for the show here in 45 minutes. These storms are producing sporadic wind damage as they're moving south. I do expect that they're going to go corner to corner, and I mean from northwest Arkansas down to South Arkansas. So they're approaching Arkadelphia. I do think eventually it'll reach El Dorado and that area. The storm's coming through Little Rock, heading towards maybe Monticello a little bit later on. Severe thunderstorm warnings remain in effect, and so when Weather Service issues those, there's reason to believe that you could have sporadic wind damage, and I'm calling it sporadic because not everybody sees wind damage, but a few of you could, and nobody wants that. We've got several areas of the state without power, mainly north and west of that's mainly north and west of Little Rock. In fact, I'll pull up the graphic here for you to look at before we go. We'll load that. These are the latest power outage numbers. So Yell County has over 6,000 without power. You see there's this wide swath north of Little Rock where you had most of the power outages, and you've had sporadic power outages down the southeast part of the state. Deshay County out of power 2,500, and Perry County over 500, Conway County over 2,300, and Faulkner County over 1,700. The numbers in Pulaski and Saline County still are not very high, and unless those numbers update, I think that's because the storms started to kind of lose their wind as they came into the metro area. So doesn't mean nobody lost power, but widespread power outages look more likely north and west of town. So now the storms are winding down in Little Rock and in Hot Springs. These storms continue to push towards the southeast. It's 9:15. I'll leave you with this. Thank you for watching. I really appreciate it. My 1-year-old had a birthday yesterday. Feels like time's moving at the speed of light, and that means, every day I go to work, it goes by very quickly, and I appreciate it that I'm able to do this, and that you guys watch and trust us for your weather information. These storms are loud. They're producing some scattered wind gusts, but